When I reflect on consistency, I don't think of it as a goal, but as a feeling, a subtle twinge of resentment. Not resentment of others, but of myself. Of the moments I saw others complete the recipe, and I didn't. Of the results they built and forged through years of quiet repetition, and how sometimes I tried to make up that ground overnight. But I learned you can't fast forward the process. You can only return to it. Consistency is a form of love. I believe the most underappreciated force in both life and performance is consistency. We're often seduced by intensity, the big breakthrough, the new hack, the life overhaul, the viral moment. But the truth, in my experience, the unglamorous, foundational truth is that greatness, peace, strength, clarity, they don't come from the extreme, but from the monotonous, repeated action. Consistency sounds good, but we've experienced that it feels different. It feels boring, at times rigid, robotic. But I'd argue that there's an opportunity to feel the opposite. Consistency is a form of love. It's how we show care for our craft, our growth, our values, not once, but over and over. Even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. And in that way, consistency becomes a quiet rebellion, not against change, but against chaos. The ally of intention. It's not a rebellion against discomfort, but against drift. I personally struggle with consistency daily, but I've spent time reflecting on why. To be consistent, you must formulate an intention. You must recreate or reaffirm your identity daily. Consistency only becomes meaningful when it aligns with who you are or who you want to be. Now, consistency is not just about showing up every day. It's how you show up. Not to check a box, not to be seen, but to reaffirm who you are becoming and what path you're on. And mind you, that doesn't mean a path necessarily with a destination, but we'll get there. Dr. Angela Duckworth defines grit as the blend of passion and perseverance for long-term goals or destinations. And she didn't just define it, she studied it. Her research shows it's not the most talented who succeed, it's the ones who persist. Especially when it's hard, especially when it's dull, especially when no one is watching. Grit isn't about working yourself into the ground. It's about staying with something meaningful. Even when it gets dull, even when you feel behind, maybe hopeless, even when progress feels impossible, invisible. That perseverance doesn't roar. It whispers again. It whispers in your ear to keep going. And every time you listen, you're not just practicing discipline. You're forming identity. Motivation will lie to you. It's fleeting, it's fickle, it's emotional, it's inconsistent. It disappears when you're tired, when you're stressed, when life gets loud. But returning to consistent practice, that's sacred, that's almost spiritual. Consistency, though, without intention is burnout. But intention without consistency, that's just potential. Unrealized potential. It's not talent or natural gifts or IQ or physical makeup that predict long-term success. It's passion, it's your perseverance, it's sustained effort over time. I think intuitively we know this. In terms of that definition of grit, we know that gritty people, the ones who aren't always the flashiest, the ones who just kept showing up, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard, they were the ones who met goals and destinations. Every time they put in those unseen hours, those reps, they reinforced a deeper belief. And with consistency, we can adopt that belief. I'm the kind of person who doesn't quit. That's how identity gets built. Not in grand declarations or goals, but in repeated alignment, in repeated practice, in returning again and again and again, with intention and alignment, with mindful awareness. In Zen and the Art of Archery, the archer doesn't practice to hit the target. The archer practices to become one with the act itself. That's mindfulness. That's intentionality. That's awareness. That's being where your feet are. There's something profoundly spiritual about doing something again and again. Not for reward, but for the goal of being present and striving for presence. You begin to experience and taste the now. You become a participant, an active participant in the unfolding moment. This is not passive. Again, this is sacred. Practice isn't just about improving. It's about returning, about experiencing again, not just for the goal, in this archer's case, the bullseye, but to their breath. Not to success, but to self. The archer doesn't draw back that bow just to hit the target. You practice consistently to draw the bow and feel what it means to pull back fully, presently. I have to remind myself, more times than not, I often move away from this mindset. And when I do, consistency, rather than a privilege of life, just begins to feel like a box-checking exercise for some hopeful destination that I'll never reach. Life becomes plain, uninspired, mechanical. But true consistency, that's not mechanical. It's organic. It's lived. It's felt. It's experienced. Not because it guarantees success or results or the destination, but because it reminds you who you are. Every time you act, it helps forge your identity. Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers introduced us to the 10,000-hour rule. Well, at least most of us. But we too often mistake it as a call for quantity. In reality, it's about quality repetition. Deliberate, and again, intentional, mindful, thoughtful, immersive. Consistency without purpose is just mindless repetition. But when that repetition is infused with intention, it becomes transformation, or at least it has the potential to. From a performance standpoint, I often think about self-efficacy. It's the belief that you can, but that belief isn't forged through praise. It comes from proof. And the most powerful form of proof? Repetition. Deliberate, purposeful, honest. Not just showing up, but engaging. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when progress feels invisible. Because what you're building isn't just skill. It's trusting yourself. And that's where we can hang our hat. And if you're interested in performance, that's where real performance comes from. Self-efficacy is the belief that you can succeed. And that belief isn't built by winning alone. It's built by doing, by small victories, the daily victories, by the hard reps when no one's watching. There is something to be said for feeling like you deserve it. It's by the willingness to stay with it when the progress feels hard to imagine. Eventually, you stop needing external markers. You start to believe not just in results, but in your own process. This is something I think a lot about, but let's consider the most important type of consistency. Consistency in character. Consistency is how you embody your values daily. Not to impress, not to be perfect, but to align with a better harmony, a better sense of self, a better sense of intention in terms of what you value from your character makeup. To wake up, to do what must be done, to do it well, to train, to care, to work, to rest, without fanfare, without comparison, with peace of mind. That leads to a powerful life. So the next time you think about making a change, don't ask, what do I want? Instead, maybe ask, what am I willing to return to again and again? Because the path, it isn't built in a day. It's revealed through devotion. One consistent moment at a time. So I try to practice a few actionable steps, and I'll share some. One, try to practice something consistently that is in alignment with your identity or the identity you want. I'm the kind of person who honors my body. I'm the kind of person who lives mindfully. I'm the kind of person who goes for a run in the morning. Whatever. Just associate it with your identity. Another piece is picking easy wins. And within those easy wins, track the times that after a misstep you return. Returning at times is more valuable than the streak. It's coming back to that streak. The last piece that has worked for me is shaping my environment. That helps make that return easier. I leave a notebook open. I set up my office for success. I put my running shoes by the door. I look to make my bed as soon as I leave that bed in the morning. Your space should make your return feel inevitable, not aspirational. Remember, consistency isn't about never missing. It's about not quitting. It's not about chasing perfection, but about trusting the process. Consistency asks that you trust that process over and over and over again. Consistency is not resentment. Intentional, practiced consistency, that's love.